What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be talking about why I don't do drop sets and what progress I have made from not doing a ton of drop sets, and why I'm not even supersetting. Like, I've cut out a bunch of things from my workouts that I previously used to do. I used to do a ton of, again, drop setting, supersetting, giant sets, a bunch of these things, even just increasing the amount of normal sets that I would do. So today I'm going to go over why you may not have to actually increase the amount of sets that you're doing. Point one, you may not need to increase the amount of sets you're doing because it's just accumulating fatigue throughout the workout. Okay, so with a lot of people, I see that on a weekly basis, they will up the volume, which may sound like a good thing, right? Because they think more volume means more hypertrophy. So hypertrophy meaning muscle growth, right? Which may actually, it may hinder your results in a sense, because when you're doing all these sets, right, you have to make sure all these sets are super quality sets, right? You know, you could just pack on a ton of fatigue from doing a crazy amount of sets. So for me, what I would do is I would just focus on, you know, assuming you're an advanced lifter or veteran lifter, okay? I wouldn't do this as a beginner. I would do very few amounts of sets. I would do probably 6 sets per muscle each week, which is very low to most people, right? Most people would be like, 6 sets? What's 6 sets, you know? But if you take those 6 sets to muscular failure, okay, you are gonna see significant progress, because number one, your muscle is gonna have to adapt, right? The more stress you put on it, the more mechanical tension, rather, you put on it, very common term now, but the more mechanical tension you apply, the better. You want mechanical tension. That's what's gonna create a bigger muscle and a stronger muscle, okay? So what you wanna do is progressively overload, so adding weight to your sets on a weekly basis. Obviously, it's not going to be linear progress, okay? You're going to have your off weeks, and you're going to have some really good weeks where your strength is just like going sky high, okay? But ideally, when you look at it, when you zoom out, you know, from a year's lens, like, you want to be able to see that there's been growth, you know, like linear, gradual growth. Okay, that's the idea. The other thing you want to do is just make sure those sets are super intense, like you have 0 reps in reserve, okay? And that is going to make such a big difference. Obviously, you want to make sure that you're also recruiting the proper muscle. So for example, bring this example up all the time, dumbbell pressing, right? A lot of people will move the weight, but they won't move it the right way. This is where I think mind muscle connection can play a role, right? It's not that, it's important, but it's not as important as people say it is. Like, a lot of people say, oh, mind muscle connection is everything, which I don't think it's everything. I think it's good when you're a beginner to really learn how to engage the muscle, okay, and just learn the mechanics. A lot of people will just kind of jump ahead and not really do that, you know. But if you're using the proper weight, you're probably going to be recruiting the proper muscle, okay? Assuming you're not like going excruciatingly heavy, you'll most likely be recruiting the proper muscle. But again, you want to position yourself right. You know, maybe in the beginning, it's good to kind of just get a feel for the muscle working, okay? But you don't have to do that forever. You know, when you're moving the weight, the mechanics like are gonna work. Your body's designed to push the weight in a certain way, okay? So when you become a more seasoned lifter, it's gonna become mindless, okay? You're not really gonna have to think about it at all when you're especially doing like a super intense set. So again, drop the sets back, you know, start increasing the weight, okay? And the other thing I would change is the rep range, okay? So the rep range, I think, is very important, because a lot of people will do, you know, 15 to 20 reps, right? And they're thinking, oh, the more reps, the more hypertrophy, which isn't, you know, necessary to actually build muscle, because the idea is to get close to failure, and you can get close to failure at 4 reps, 5 reps, 6 reps. You don't have to be doing 15 reps to get to failure, okay? So a lot of people think, oh, they're conflating fatigue and muscular failure, which I used to be the same way when I was younger. I was thinking, oh yeah, the more fatigued I am, the better, right? Like, and I used to have this idea, oh yeah, the muscle is gonna break down and build itself back up. Like, I was completely not aware of what was even going on. So you basically can lower your reps, and then when you lower your reps, it's going to give you an incentive just psychologically to actually, you know, lift a heavier weight, right? And I used to be like an advocate for being like, you don't have to lift the heaviest weight in the room. But if you want to make progress, you want to be progressively overloading, okay? And once you become a seasoned lifter, you're going to know what weight feels right for that set and what weight doesn't feel right. You'll know what's too heavy and what's too light, and you'll know the right weight to pick for, you know, a 6 rep set, for example, okay? So that's point number 1. I would, you know, cut down my sets. I would even cut down my reps a little bit, and I would just stick with that for a while. I wouldn't even play around with the volume, okay? Because if you're making progress, I just wouldn't really, there's no need to change anything, right? A lot of people are like, I gotta somehow shock the muscle. I gotta add something here, something there, you know, change my routine every 5-6 weeks, which is not necessarily the case. You can make very good progress with just, you know, doing just those things, like sticking with basic exercises. You don't have to get like super fancy with any exercise, really. You know, if you're doing dumbbell presses, leg press, you know, lat pull downs, rows, bicep curls, tricep push, like, the point is, you don't have to go insane about what kind of exercises you're gonna do, okay? You don't need to do some new overhead freaking upside down, whatever, cable extension, whatever you want to call it, okay? That's point number 1, okay? Point number 2, the time in the gym you actually spend. So I told myself this year that I want to be making progress, right, in the gym. I want to be lifting heavier and doing all these things, but I also want to split up my time to do other things, okay? Like working on a project, whatever it might be, working on YouTube videos, right? Because I actually like making these videos, you know, it's actually interesting to me. Plus, for me, just, you know, little sidetrack, but for me, I would rather be able to help more people instead of just going one by one. YouTube is a very easy way to do that, okay? So I told myself, why am I spending 6 days a week in the gym? I just don't need to be doing 6 days a week in the gym. It's just, I don't need to be doing that. I could be doing 3 to 4 solid sessions a week. And again, you know, just pushing with intensity with each set, right? Like going to muscular failure, okay? Like mechanical failure, okay? And let's see how it goes. And I've already seen my strength has definitely, you know, increased. I can notice already a bit of a difference with the size on some of my lagging muscle groups. Like, there's very little differences, right? And I'm liking the way I enjoy it. I actually found a new love for training again, right? It's kind of refreshing a little bit, instead of, you know, dragging yourself 6 times a week to the gym and doing all these like high volume workouts, and you're fatigued and you need a deload week. It's just not ideal. It's not ideal, especially if you want to go do other things. It's just time consuming. So I wanted to find a new, I guess, thing that would work and I could still make progress. Something that's not gonna eat up so much of my time, okay? And I think you guys, again, that's another reason you should try it. Yes, I do like going to the gym, but there's, there's times in your life when you need to dedicate yourself to something else. Unless you're, of course, a full-time bodybuilder, then yeah, that's your work. But even if you're a full-time bodybuilder, gonna go on a little bit of a tangent here, but you don't necessarily have to spend that time in the gym. You don't have to spend that much time in the gym, right? You have like the old classic days, like, Arnold, when he was in the gym, he would go in for 2 sessions a day, 2 hours each, or I don't even know, like hour and a half or whatever it might be. And I understand why that was going on at the time, because the culture, the people, just that was the way, socializing worked, right? It was like there was a good energy in the gym. Like people, it was just a different time. This is a different time, simply put. And, I guess that was the knowledge, that they had back in the day in terms of like the training, that they thought more was better. But then you look at someone like Dorian and Mike Mentzer, right? They were the complete opposites, especially Mike Mentzer. Mike Mentzer was like, do one all-out set and you're done, right? Maybe 3 workouts a week, 30 minutes each session, which you don't have to go to that extent. I think, yeah, like you might lose your love for the gym a bit if you're just going in doing one set. I could see that, because the gym is a psychological thing. Sometimes you just want to go decompress, right? Even if it's a crappy workout, it's a way to decompress, or it's like a stress reliever from maybe like a hard day at work, or you may have gotten into an argument with someone, or whatever it might be. It's good for that. Maybe it's not all about building muscle after all, but my point is, you have these opposite ends of the spectrum, right? And you have these 6-time Mr. Olympia, Dorian Yates, doing 4 workouts a week and making amazing progress. Yes, of course, he was on performance enhancing drugs, but I think his training played a role in his physique, okay? I think there's absolutely no question about it, okay? And I think the biggest thing was, hey, I'm progressively overloading and my intensity's through the roof. So why do I need to do more? I've sent the message to the muscle. Anything more than this, I'm packing on fatigue. Now, if you do this for a couple weeks and you want to add some volume, you can, right? And that leaves us to the next question. Well, how much should I be doing then? How much should I be doing? So for me, right, this is for me. I would be doing anywhere from like 6 sets per muscle week to around 14, 15 sets per week. That's it, like 15 being the max, okay? And even for me, that could be pushing it a little bit, because like by the time I get to like my 3rd set on an exercise, I'm already too fatigued. That's it, the muscle is done, right? Tank's empty. If I were you, in conclusion, I would just give it a try. Okay, you got nothing to lose. You may feel like, okay, I'm really starting to get stronger. My love for the gym is starting to come back. Things like that. When you're just dragging yourself through, 6 days a week and you're doing like 20 sets of body part, it's just so fatiguing, right? And maybe some people get the enjoyment out of the fatigue part. Maybe they're like, yeah, I'm like working hard and whatever. But if you want to make good progress, I would try this. I would definitely try this. I'm not saying you got to do it forever. I'm not saying you got to do like 2 sets forever for each exercise, but I would give it a shot. Okay? And it's going to save you time. You're going to make progress, get stronger, get bigger. Psychologically, you might feel a little bit better. That's the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. I am also running one-to-one fitness training. So if you're interested, DM me, Coach, on Instagram or Facebook. Those are really the 2 main platforms. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one.